Hey everybody, Jake Garage. I'm gonna try to make this one kind of quick, but should be kind of fun video. Some of you that have watched my results video on the Subaru after it got fixed from the tree damage might remember me mentioning the steering wheel is falling apart. Now, the body shop that had the car, they promised to take care of me, and they did. The steering wheel is worn. I mean, you can kind of tell it's got some miles on it. It's a little worn, but it wasn't like this. Like, there wasn't the actual inner rubber wasn't separated. This wasn't peeled back, and it wasn't missing material. I mean, it's missing. It looks like it really got yanked on. So I was only being honest when I said to them that, hey, this wasn't like this when I brought it in here. So long story short, they tried to get me a steering wheel, but being that this is a Legacy GT Limited, it has the factory Momo leather wrapped wheel, and all they kept getting me were 2.5i wheels. So I ended up going on the forums, legacygT.com, and I got a very nice wheel. It wasn't very much. It was about 80 bucks. The body shop agreed to just pay me for the wheel, and I was happy. I told them I would release them of all responsibility for installation, because I mean, it's a steering wheel install. You know, why am I not going to do it myself? So this is just going to be a quick video, and this video can actually be applied to just about any car, especially a newer car, because they're all kind of the same now. Back in the day, with the older cars with no airbags, you just popped off the horn button, there was a big nut, you turned off the nut, used the puller, and you yanked the wheel off, and that was it. Same basic principle applies, except for now you've got an airbag, which scares some people. You've got cruise control and audio controls and shifting controls on the steering wheels now, so a little bit more involved, not too bad. So on my Subaru and on most cars, the first thing you're going to have to do is take the airbag off. Now, there's some precautions you got to take here. First of all, you want to disconnect the battery. Now, I'm the first one to be kind of stupid sometimes and not disconnect the battery when you're supposed to. This isn't one of those times. I don't want to take an airbag to the face. So I've disconnected the battery. I touched the negative to the positive. You know, after it was disconnected from the battery, I've pressed the brake pedal 15 times, discharged everything I could possibly, you know, it's dead. The car's dead, the energy's out. Some cars, you have to check your particular make and model. Some cars, you just have to stick a screwdriver in back here and release some tabs. On the Subaru, you'll see 2 screw holes, and I'm actually going to show you on the new wheel. There it is. It is a Torx. It is a T30 on this car, and these screws are captive. They will not come out. They just stay in there, which is a good thing, because, you know, one less screw you'd have to lose. In my instance, I found that the regular 3/8 drive socket kind of fit right in there, and it wasn't that hard to take out. I've already got them loosened. I read online somewhere, somebody said something about them being super tight, like you feel like you're going to break them. That was not my experience at all. Mine just kind of loosened right up. So you're going to unscrew until you can kind of feel, you know, that feeling when you're unscrewing a screw and it starts to come out and then it pops back in a little bit? That means you're at the end of the threads, and you really shouldn't need to turn it anymore. So you're just going to do that until you can feel that little pop, and at that point, you'll have to forgive me because this is the first time I'm doing it on this car, but at that point your airbag should come loose, and if it doesn't, then you need to loosen up your screws some more. Apparently I did not let it loosen up enough. There we go. I'm doing this one-handed. I thought about getting the GoPro out, but I wasn't sure what kind of view. That takes some setup. I was hoping to do this kind of quick. So here's the inside of your steering wheel. Now, the first thing you're going to be scared of, if you haven't done this before, is your airbag connectors. There's 2 connectors here. These are quite easy to take apart. They, I think I might need to get a little screwdriver in there, but you essentially just have to pop up these yellow locks, and once you do that, this will come out. So let me see if I have, my apologies. I popped that one off and didn't have record going. So you can just watch this one. Just get yourself a screwdriver. I have to actually pay attention here. You're just gonna pop that little sucker up and then just kind of grab the plug and wiggle it out. And that's it. And they're color coded. You can't even mess it up when putting it back together. This is just a ground cable here. Boy, maybe I should have my GoPro. This is kind of a pain. Okay, well, it is a simple spade terminal, but that sucker was on there. Just clamped on there pretty tight. Okay, so let's see where we're at here. Now we've got, there's our airbag, there's our ground. This green connector in here, I believe, is for these shifting controls on this car. It would be for the audio controls if I had them. And I think this other one is for the cruise control. So what I'm gonna have to do is pop those out because they're connected to the roll. I think they call that a roll connector in there. And that's what basically gives your steering wheel buttons connection while you're turning your wheel around. That one's gonna be stubborn. There we go. Okay. So everything is disconnected. Now we are left with this big nut here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna cheat. I have my little impact here. I'm not sure. These things sometimes can be put on very tight, and other times they're just kind of, you know, stuck on there. I'm gonna venture a guess and say it's metric. Yeah, it looks like it's a 16 millimeter. All right, here we go. Hold your ears. There we go. Easy peasy. Okay, now first thing I'm going to do is I am going to take the nut all the way off. And for those of you that don't know, your steering wheel is splined onto the steering column. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take a Sharpie and I'm going to just make a mark on the wheel as dead center up, just to make it easy. And then also on the as much as I can. So now you can see I've marked the end of the steering shaft and the metal bracket of the steering wheel. So now I've done that for a couple of reasons. First of all, this new steering wheel isn't going to have that mark, obviously. But I'm going to do my very best to get that new steering wheel. I mean, I've got the wheel pretty much straight. Let me get it on there. That should be good to go. If for any reason I can't seem to center it up, I will just take out these few screws. There's a clip down here and a few screws, and I think this metal bracket will come out. So let's just see. Okay, now normally I would get my steering wheel puller, which uses 2 bolts to thread in there, a flange, and then a center nut that pushes the wheel off. But I've heard that you can wiggle these off pretty easily. So what I'm going to do is put the nut back on, just a few turns so I don't yank it off and punch myself in the face. And I'm going to just try to give the wheel a couple good bent. Popped right off. Okay. That's the first time I've ever done it that way. I'm usually more of a steering wheel puller kind of person. I like taking things easy. So you're going to fish your airbag wires out. There you go. There's your old wheel. Here's your steering column. Now's the time to clean up anything out of that. And you want to make sure you don't spin that like I just did. You want to keep that, like it is. I mean, a little bit of turn is okay, but you don't want to spin it all the way around. I don't think. Maybe it doesn't matter. I don't know. So let's grab the new wheel. And I'm going to try to do this one-handed. It's kind of tricky. And that's going to be nearly impossible to do. So I'm going to put you down. When I come back, basically all I'm going to do is button it up. So, okay, so I essentially just slid it on there, got it lined up. This roll connector back here does have two locating dowels that need to line up. On my particular car, there's a hole here and a notch here, and it has to line up. It slid right on. I don't think I really needed the mark. It's straight. I mean, you can rewind and check me out if you want, but it looks like it's on there straight. So now I'm just going to take my gun, watch your ears again. That ought to do it. Okay. Take my wires, keep the airbag wires out of the way for a minute. White one goes in there. You can't mess this up. They're one plug per hole, or one plug for each hole there, specifically shaped. Okay, here's how you put the airbag back in. Let me get the ground wire on. That's going to be my tether. Okay, ground wire's on. And you're going to take these wires. This is where you hopefully discharged your battery system, because if you somehow introduced a charge into this, your airbag could very well pop, I think. And that would not make for a very fun situation. So you're just going to stick them in there. Like that. Plug them in and then push down the lock. That's it. Put that back on. I don't think there's anything special to the wires. One thing I have to do is push my screws out of the way, though, on this one. Okay, that's that, and then I'll screw it in. I don't think you guys really need to see that, but you know, like I said, this is something that you can do. You know, you definitely fear and respect the airbag, but if you follow the procedure for disconnecting your battery and everything, it's you know, it's fairly safe. You really got to actually set these things off for them to go off. I've not really heard of anybody accidentally blowing one up unless they were just being stupid. So that's it. I'm going to tighten this up, put the battery back on, make sure everything works, and go take it for a drive to reset the, you know, the fuel trims and everything. But this one's much nicer. It's not perfect. It's got a couple little things. There was a blemish on the right here that's actually already started to come out. It looks like the owner may have had something sitting on it, but it's working its way out. I'm sure once the sun hits, it'll be fine. But there's a little tiny bit there, no wear on the side, no wear on the top. It feels much nicer than that one. Obviously, it's not falling apart, so that's a big deal. So that's that. It's very simple. You can do it yourself. You know, just take your time. Like I said, every car might be a little different, but at the same time, the basic gist is going to be the same. Thanks for watching.